Hey everyone, thank you for coming to another rental team video. Obviously this is a little different. Normally I do the top 5 rental teams. Do not worry, I'm still doing that this month. But I decided to take one team at the very beginning of the month and give this team a little bit of extra love because you can easily grind your way to Masterball tier pretty quickly with this team. It's really good. If you're looking at it, it probably looks very familiar. You see these Pokemon a lot. But I'm going to do a little bit of a deeper dive and walk you through a couple leads with this one so you can know exactly how it works and why that even if people know what you're expecting, you can still beat them with this team. I'm going to do a little deep dive on it for you guys. I hope you like this. I'll probably do some videos like this in addition to my top 5 rental teams. I'm waiting for the season to start a little bit before I go with the top 5 teams because I want to see how the meta has adapted. However, I'm going to explain why. Even though this team has all old Pokemon, it can still dominate in the current format with all the Isle of Armor Pokemon. So let's roll this intro, and let's make it Austin John playstyle today, and then get right into the team. Okay, this is the first time on this channel where this is actually my team. I've included the rental code. However, I want to give credit to someone, and that's Ancharin in my Discord. Anch is one of the best competitive players I know, and this is his team. I had no input in it whatsoever. He was just kind enough to share the full EV, IV spreads with me, as well as obviously all the moves. So I built the team to make public. If you want the full EV spreads, I've included a link to those right in the description. Anyways, let's get right into why this team's good. So the obvious first, there's 2 different leads that you typically want to bring with this team. You're either going to bring Indeedee Hatterne in the front, or you're going to bring Dusclops Rhyperior in the front. This Dusclops has max special defense, so it can tank a lot of dark type hits. However, one thing that this Dusclops is not good at tanking is max darkness from a Dynamax T-Tar. So however, T-Tar Excadrill, it's one of the most common leads. It's probably one of the most difficult matchups for this team because if you lead Indeedee Hatterne, even if you use Follow Me with Indeedee, you're going to get either double Rock Slided, most likely to get the flinch, or even Earthquaked, all kinds of shenanigans. You could get Earthquake and a Rock Slide if one of them is holding an air balloon for whatever reason. But you do not want to bring Indeedee Hat when you see T-Tar Exca. So the lead there would be Dusclops Rhyperior. When do you want to bring Indeedee Hat? They're good pretty much everywhere except for when you see Stalwart Duraludon, because of course Duraludon can max steal right into Hatterne and is not redirected by Indeedee's Follow Me. When you lead Indeedee and Hatterne, Psychic Surge hits the field, and even if you're going up against Rillaboom, this Indeedee is slower than Rillaboom, so your terrain will get the priority. They can always switch in Rillaboom, so if you lead Indeedee Hat and your opponent had Rillaboom, and when they start, Rillaboom's not on the field, do not Expanding Force with Hatterne. However, if they lead with Rillaboom, then you're pretty much good to go. You're going to Follow Me with Indeedee, you're going to Trick Room with Hatterne, and then you're just going to go off. And that is the lead. So even if you're very new to Pokemon, you don't know what you're doing, you need to learn teams a little bit to get better. Just when you're not sure what to do, lead Indeedee Hatterne, except for those matchups that I mentioned. And pretty much what you're going to do turn 1 is Follow Me with Indeedee, and then use Trick Room with Hatterne. Once you have the Trick Room set, you're going to either double Expanding Force or Dazzling Gleam Expanding Force, or if both Pokemon resist Psychic, then you're going to Helping Hand Dazzling Gleam. If you're going up against another Trick Room team, or a team with a Trick Room counter like Chandelure has Imprison so they can lock you from using Trick Room, that's fine. Don't Trick Room. Just double Expanding Force turn 1. You'll probably knock out both their Pokemon. If it's a Chandelure, you'll break its Focus Sash right away. And then your follow-up attack will knock it out. Pretty easy. This is a Gmax Hatterne, so you can Gmax it to use Max Smite, which can get you out of tricky situations if you make some misplays, because the effect of that Gmax attack is that both of your opponent's Pokemon will get confused. So even if you're not a good player, you can win a lot of games through luck when you have to Gmax Hatterne. However, I will say the goal of this team is not to Gmax Hatterne because the effects of Expanding Force and Dazzling Gleam are so good when you can get damage on both Pokemon. It also counters things like Ally Switch, doesn't matter when you're attacking both Pokemon. So ideally, you do not want to Dynamax Hatterne. Now, if you lead Indeedee Hatterne, what you're going to bring in the back obviously depends on what your opponent has. But I can tell you, if they have something like Urshifu, for example, bring Gastrodon in the back. If your opponent leads with Urshifu, just swap your Indeedee back out, or swap your Hatterne back out if you don't want to lose a special defense boost on your Indeedee. You can easily just swap Hatterne out, switch in Gastrodon, and 9 times out of 10 your opponent's going to be Surging Fist. However, you should note that sometimes they won't. So you can always, just to be safe, still follow me with Indeedee, get your Trick Room off, and then once your Trick Room is off, you can switch in Gastrodon to start soaking in those water attacks. This Camparaja is amazing because it has the Sheer Force ability, which basically boosts the damage of any attack that has a side effect. You'll notice all 3 of Camparaja's attacks have those added side effects. Now, it removes those added side effects, so you can never flinch with Rock Slide or Iron Head, but because those moves have those in, they get boosted damage from Camparaja's Sheer Force. In addition to the boosted damage from Sheer Force, you get boosted damage from Life Orb. So this is not Gmax Camparaja, it's regular Camparaja. And that's basically because we don't need to rely on hazards on the field with this team. So I'd rather take the Max Steel and get the physical defense boost on Camparaja as opposed to the Gmax Steel move. Camparaja is a good Dynamax candidate, but the #1 Dynamax candidate on this team is Rhyperior. I'd say the order of Dynamaxers on this team is probably going to be 1 Rhyperior, and then tied for second is probably Hatterne and Camparaja, and you really don't want to Dynamax anyone else. When you lead Dusclops Rhyperior, you might already know this by now, it's very common. What you want to do is either Rock Slide Rhyperior, get the Trick Room off with Dusclops if you can see you're in a situation where you can do that. However, if you're not sure, the safe thing to do would be Protect on Rhyperior turn 1, especially if you see a Pokemon that you're weak against. Even if they Dynamax and you do Protect, you might lose a lot of health, but your weakness policy will be triggered for next turn, and if they target you, that means they didn't target Dusclops, so you definitely get your Trick Room off. So the idea is to get that Trick Room off with Dusclops as quickly as you can, and then Dynamax Rhyperior. If your weakness policy does not get triggered on Rhyperior on turn 1, then on turn 2, you use Bulldoze, which hits all opponents on the field, including yourself, but does very, very little damage. So to a Dynamax Rhyperior, it'll do less than 5% of your health, and it will trigger your weakness policy, and then you can sweep pretty easily with Rhyperior. So those are the 2 leads. Indeedee Hatterne, Rhyperior Dusclops, and then based on which 2 you lead with, be careful of what you bring to the back. Sometimes, if I'm really scared that I don't know what my opponent is going to do, I will bring Indeedee and Hatterne in the front and Dusclops Rhyperior in the back. I'll bring both leads. It's not recommended to do, but it can work, especially as you're getting better at competitive and learning the team. Bring both leads, because then if you pick the wrong lead, it's okay. You still got the right lead in the back. One really common lead that's super annoying that we're going to see a lot of is Amoonguss and Venusaur. Indeedee and Hatterne now beat Amoonguss and Venusaur with Expanding Force. It's very possible that turn 1 Venusaur puts Indeedee to sleep, which is fine. You can just follow me. But as soon as you get that Trick Room off, next turn you can Expanding Force, and if your opponent for some reason is silly enough to try to put Hatterne to sleep, Hatterne's ability Magic Bounce will reflect back and put Venusaur to sleep. So you never ever have to worry about Hatterne being put to sleep by Sleep Powder. Why do we have Will-O-Wisp on Dusclops and not Pain Split? Because it is so valuable when you're going up against bulky physical attackers like T-Tar to be able to get that Will-O-Wisp off in case you're not able to one-shot it, even with weakness policy boosted Rhyperior. We need Trick Room, we need Bulldoze to self-prop the weakness policy, and so for our last slot we have to have an attacking move, otherwise Dusclops is going to hurt itself if it ever gets a taunt. So we need to have Nightshade. Also, Nightshade does consistent damage, and it's just a nice way to get that extra damage you need on the board. When you're using Indeedee and Hatterne, be very, very aware of the terrain. If your opponent does something like set electric terrain or bring in Rillaboom to set grassy terrain, you need to adjust right away. So even though Expanding Force hits both of the other Pokemon, you have to be careful about what slot you're choosing. You'll notice Gastrodon does not have Scald. That is intentional. Ice Beam, Earth Power, Protect, and Recover is honestly the best moveset in the metagame right now. You will not need Scald on your Gastrodon, and that way you won't end up using a water move into an attacking Gastrodon. Gastrodon gives you a way that when Trick Room is up to do nice damage to dragon types, in case you forgot to bring or did not bring Copperajah. That way we don't have to bring both. We're not committed when we see a dragon type on the other team. Ice Beam is just really, really good, and I'm actually surprised by how much I'm able to get that 10% freeze chance. So now that we have the deep dive into this team and how it works, I'm going to show you guys how it works. And right now, the new rule set that allows Isle of Armor Pokemon into ranked is live. So we're going to be doing this in competitive on the ladder against teams that include the new Pokemon in the DLC. I am in Great Ball tier right now. That's because when you're in Master Ball and then a new season starts, it always sets you in rank 9 in Great Ball. So even though I'm in Great Ball, I'm going to be going up against other people that were in Master Ball tier. Okay, so right here we can see they're bringing Amoonguss. They have Chandelure. Oh, and they're bringing beat up Whimsicott with Justified Cobalion, and Justified Terrakion. Oh, and they have beat up Dragapult. So they have tons and tons of different ways. Guys, if you see beat up Whimsicott, if you see a team like this, follow me, Indeedee. All the beat-ups will be directed into Indeedee. They might be ready for that. They might not be. That's okay. Hatterne destroys a lot of this team. Obviously, we want to have that magic bounce going. There's no need to bring Gastrodon to this matchup. Actually, Gastrodon is pretty weak. So we can go ahead and bring Rhyperior. We don't need to bring Dusclops. I'm comfortable just bringing Copperajah. We'll deal with that Chandelure before we get to it. Hopefully I don't mess up, because sometimes I make really bad mistakes when I'm trying to record and I'm on camera. Double shinies from my opponent, GG. Get that special defense boost on Indeedee. I actually am not even going to set Trick Room, because Amoonguss is pretty good in Trick Room. So this is a situation where I'm going to double Expanding Force. Interesting. This might not be the best opponent. I think they went for Indeedee because Indeedee is weak to Dark. It is super effective. However, as you can see, it doesn't do a lot of damage. So this is how good... that is a smart move. That does do a lot of damage. So they expected the Follow Me, and instead of giving them the Follow Me, I gave them the Expanding Force, and that was strong enough to KO them both. So you can see the power of this team right away. Okay, here is Terrakion and Cobalion. So I don't know what they're really going to do here, because they have no way to use beat up on each other. So what we're going to do is just Follow Me with Indy, so Hatterne can get a Trick Room off. Hatterne may end up taking some damage here. I definitely expect one of them to Dynamax. Yep. All right, so we just Dynamax. There is going to be a couple cuts in the video to cut out any fluff. So I cut out the Dynamax animation. So we went after Indeedee with the close combat, was able to get the KO, so he will get a Dynamax attack off on Hatterne. And it is a Max Steel Spike. So he does get the KO. So he basically revenge KO'd us. It was smart of him to Dynamax the Pokemon that was slower. So obviously we're going to bring Rhyperior and Copperajah. We don't have any other choice. We don't have the Trick Room up, which is unfortunate. But Rhyperior is a physical tank. So what we can do is just go ahead and max Quake. I want to go after the Terrakion, so I'm not boosting the attack of his Dynamax Pokemon. So we'll just double into it. If he's smart, he'll protect. Doubling into a Pokemon is always a risky move, but I do expect probably Rhyperior's weakness policy to be set off, and I know that we can tank the hit. So we absolutely tank that hit, and I'm sorry I got startled there. Let me fix the focus on my camera. Most professional video ever. Oh, we're getting doubled into on Rhyperior. That is quite alright. It allows us to one-shot the Terrakion, just get that out of the way. And then Copperajah is going to do minimal damage to the Cobalion. However, we can get it down next turn. So how much HP do I have? I actually have to look up off my camera. So if he's smart, again, I think he would go after the Copperajah. But I will try to just get some free damage on him. Because I have one more turn of Dynamax after this, and he's all used up. So yeah, he got greedy. He went after Rhyperior. Copperajah was able to get a little bit more damage down. And we'll see if we're strong enough to survive an attack from Cobalion. We honestly might not be, but we'll have to see. Honestly, pretty smart. He avoided my overpowered Dynamax turn by using Bounce. So I'm trying to debate what I want to do here. I think I just double up. Whoever he hits, he hits. He's probably targeting Rhyperior, honestly. But we'll see. Indeed, he is. However, it does nothing, so we're still able to get the attack off. We one-shot it. Well, not one-shot it. It had already had some chip damage. But yeah, we take the win against some pretty uber-competitive Pokemon. I was able to do it while making a couple mistakes with the Indeedee Hatterne Lead. I shouldn't have let them get KO'd like that on that turn. That was definitely my bad. I could have probably done a switch in right there. But see, you can have room for error and still beat really good teams with this team. I want to showcase the Dusclops Rhyperior lead next, and then I will wrap up the video. Okay, here's the start of match 2. Let's see, they brought out Roserade and Gastrodon. Yeah, these are two Pokemon I'm not worried about whatsoever. We can just Expanding Force for the win. My opponent took a very long time to make that decision, so we are back. Yep, definitely put the Indeedee to sleep. Makes sense, I understand why. And that is the power of Expanding Force. I want to show you guys this real quick, because before I was able to get a Dusclops Rhyperior matchup where that would be the right lead, I found this, and this is going to be hilarious. I expect them to use Imprison with Chandelure, and then I expect myself just to laugh and laugh and laugh some more. So we're going to double up on, because they did have Rillaboom on their team, so I also could expect a switch into Rillaboom. Oh, I see. It's a fast Chandelure. So they, to my opponent's credit, they didn't do the predictable thing. They just got one shot anyways. They should have switched in Rillaboom. They really should have. So we're going to Max Rock on the Rotom, and we're going to Earth Power. And they quit. We still had Indy in the back. So that's a nice win. So 3 wins in a row, just leading Indeedee Hat. Hopefully, we'll finally get that Dusclops Rhyperior lead for you guys next. Okay, I finally found someone where I want to lead Dusclops and Rhyperior. Rhyperior destroys Charizard, and they really don't have much to deal with Dusclops, which makes me feel pretty confident I'll get the Trick Room off. Now, I am worried about Inteleon, obviously, because if it does Dynamax, it will hit Gastrodon. It won't just straight up do a Storm Drain. So, if I see Inteleon, we're just going to hard switch Rhyperior into Gastrodon. Gastrodon will take a hit, but not a very big one. So that's the appeal there, I guess. And then I definitely want to still have Hatterne to take advantage of terrain if Weezing sets it up, and also just be able to hit 2 Pokemon at once. We've got Charizard and Whimsicott. This is honestly a really safe lead for me. I guess Whimsicott could taunt Dusclops. That's a thing, right? Or is Dusclops immune? I'm not exactly sure, but a Max Rock will take care of the Charizard pretty easily. Oh, but you know what? I forgot. He's got, what's it called? He's got Max Overgrowth. So we're just gonna safely set the Trick Room and just completely block his Max Overgrowth. Yeah, they're gonna Dynamax Charizard. So guys, remember that. Charizard can, I'm pretty sure, one-shot Rhyperior, even when Rhyperior is Dynamaxed, with that big Max Overgrowth. So make sure you protect the Rhyperior while this is happening. Dusclops, however, should be fine. The only thing I'm worried about with Dusclops is it getting taunted. My opponent could also G-Max Wildfire into Dusclops, which would not be a bad decision at all. Whimsicott did use Sunny Day, so it makes me feel like he's going to one-shot the Dusclops. Dusclops lives. That's why this Dusclops is 252 special defense EVs. Love to see it, guys. Love to see it. Unfortunately, we kind of wasted a turn to Dynamax with Rhyperior, but we kind of had to play it safe. So now we're just going to Max Rock right in Charizard. It should be an easy one-shot. And we've already broken... We'll break Whimsicott's Sash at that point from the sand, but we'll get some chip damage on him too from Dusclops. Charizard decides to Max Guard, be annoying, do shenanigans. It happens. Whimsicott turns off the Trick Room. GG. Okay, Dusclops is gone, but guess who we have now? Hatterne. So even if he goes after the Rhyperior and one-shots me, I'll set the Trick Room with Hatterne, and it should be enough to take care of everything. What am I thinking? I do not want to set the Trick Room with Hatterne at all. We're just going to Dazzling Gleam it. He goes for another G-Max Wildfire into the Hatterne, getting Hatterne off the board. So that means we're not going to end up getting Trick Room off. However, his Dynamax is over. And, oh, it's to be decided if I'm able to one-shot. He had the berry. So this team was built to take on the Rhyperior matchup. He did a great job of clearing the board of pretty much everything that would be a hazard to him. And then Whimsicott sets the Trick Room for me. Okay. Thanks, Whimsicott. It has Prankster. He didn't have to do that. Neutralizing gas. So that means he's not flying, right? Alright, we'll protect with Gastro right here. Get an Earthquake off. I'll probably turn off the Trick Room. Maybe I'll turn it on. I don't know. Ooh, they doubled up on Gastro. Rhyperior ends up being fine. Those flames are still burning us up. I'm gonna go for the Rock Slide. I think it's enough to KO both. Or, you know what? Okay. I'll go for the high horsepower on Weezing, I am. And I'm gonna go for the Ice Beam on Whimsicott. Got some nice damage. Probably will kill the Rhyperior, but he doesn't. Love to see it. That's another reason why you want to get Sand up for Rhyperior. Weezing gone. Effects of the neutralizing gas wear off. And Whimsicott gone. Trying to decide if I want to protect the Rhyperior there, right here. He may call that bluff. Honestly, I am going to protect just because I want to see what he does. And I do want to just get a recover off with Gastro. So we'll see what happens right here. I'm interested to see exactly what my opponent does. He's actually going to Blizzard to get both of us. Interesting. Alright, well that's a big swing and a miss. We can clean up with Gastro right now. And see, so this was not the ideal lead. But literally, the team is so good that, like, with all these mistakes, I was still fine. And I'm almost back to Masterball tier at this point, which is nice. Wait, what did I just do? High horsepower, yep, we want to do that. And we want to do regular earth power. If they were both the same, you would still want to do Earth Power because you have the chance to lower that special attack, which is definitely what you want. Alright, so at least he KO'd Rhyperior. But I'm pretty sure his accuracy of Blizzard is lowered a lot in a Sandstorm. So it might not be the best strategy for him, but he's going to try. Can't blame him for trying. Alright, the Sandstorm is gone. Now we just gotta spam Earth Power and hope we get that KO. Doesn't have any recovery type moves. A crit would be nice. I'm not sure if we can take 2 or not. He's got Dark Pulse. Okay, we eat that pretty nicely. Oh, and he must be Life Orb. But he does get the flinch. That's why he's Dark Pulsing, for flinch. So I'm going to try to eat up as many of his moves as I can. There's no need to try to recover because basically one shot will kill him as long as I can survive a flinch. There we go. That's the GG. So that's how the second lead works, and it kind of gives you an idea more about how the team works. All right, so you can see, guys, I'm literally almost to Masterball tier after doing less than 10 battles. If we go down, I ended up going 6-2. Even in this new format, not playing my best, trying to make sure I'm explaining everything I'm doing for the camera, which causes some misplays and then just other stuff. But you guys can see how the team works. You can see why this is good. And this is the best time to use a team like this because it's proven to be really, really good. And right now, people don't really know what's going to be good going forward. So they're going to try these new teams they think are cool, but it's not really an established meta yet. So you can get away with coming in here with this team at the beginning of the month, or pretty much, I'm pretty sure you can get to Masterball at any point during the month with this team. And that's why I made this video, to get everyone up to Masterball tier again. And I hope you guys liked it. Look for my new top 5 rental team video to come out later in the month to give you guys some new gimmick teams, some fun stuff. I've already got really, really cool stuff planned. I've already made a couple of the teams. It's going to be exciting. Hope to see you there. Smash that like button if you enjoyed this. Definitely subscribe so you get all the rental guide videos. I know I have a lot of people on the channel that are just subscribed for that. And if you're just subscribed for that, I totally understand. No worries. You don't have to watch my other content. But if you like this, that's great. If you want to watch my other content, that's great too. I hope everyone has an awesome day, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.